Hi, and welcome to this talk of mine. Uh, I will be talking about schizophrenia and some relations to that diagnosis, and also a bit about therapy and medication and psychiatry in general. So, first, I would like to explain how I experience my schizophrenia, how I see schizophrenia for me. For me, the schizophrenia, the splitting from the Greek splitting of mind. Uh, the splitting of mind is just that. It is multiple mind projecting itself out to a new unit. My mind projecting itself into a new unit, like a cancer only of the mind. I refer to schizophrenia as the cancer of mind because we project out of my mind a new mind unit that is then also a part of me. That is the very schizo, splitting of mind, um, part of it. So I have been working with many minds. I've had many minds, 3, 4 minds at once to deal with, which is, of course, very bothersome and disturbing and painful and troubling to have 3, 4 minds to deal with. I mean, the reality can change like that. Whap! And there's a total change of reality for the schizophrenic. So basically, what it means with my schizophrenia is that I could change in a split second. The noise, the colors, the pictures, the concepts, the feelings, the emotions can change like that, wham, and it just changes. Which is, like I say, very scary and troublesome, and a illness, obviously, that is rooted in the splitting of one's mind into new mind units, and it's it's no fun, obviously, because you lose all sense of belonging and stability and control. So earlier I've been making videos saying that schizophrenia is a form of autism. Now that is not totally correct. So you know, schizophrenia, a schizophrenic can also be an autist, but schizophrenia in itself is not autism. A schizophrenic can also be an autist, but schizophrenia in itself is not autism. Um, so, looking at this world, and to my account, we are all mentally sick because we have a mind conscious system. All of humanity is mentally ill because we all have a mind consciousness system that makes us ill. So that to say that some have mental illness, that you and they and they and they and she and him and those, they have mental illness, that is a scam and a lie, because we all have, to some degree, obviously, layers and issues and programs and feelings and emotions and thoughts and conspiracies and all that, projections and jealousy and depression and anger, ego, personalities, beliefs. We all have things, issues, bothers, troubles, illness of our minds. All of humanity has that as of today. So, I think that I am making into a call, a purpose for me is to explain to people how I see schizophrenia. And schizophrenia to me is when I have two or three personalities that are at once having a war within my mind, within my being, to take the control of my being and my physical. There will be or there will be two or three personalities that would at once try to be the I person. So these characters, these two personalities, would fight and have a war inside of me in trying to control me, trying to be in control of the physical, of the being. So within this war of in my head of personalities, there is obviously friction, there is pain, there is a voice in the head, there is deeply disturbing and concerning thoughts and conspiracy. There is, lack of anything sane really. Uh, so that is how I see schizophrenia, as a very severe mental illness that I have been able to work my way very much to handle from walking my process, destiny I process. So um, that is some of the basics of schizophrenia. You have the splitting of mind into new mind boxes, mind units, and you have this several personalities within and as these mind units and then boxes that that and it's just like a chaos and a war and a mess and disturbing and voices and pain and thoughts that are very, very, very bothersome and a reality that is just fucked up. Simply. So one more, excuse me. Another point that I would like to talk about today is therapy and medicine, because we have for many decades now been looking at the polarities of medicine. There has been a war for many decades between the government and the doctors and the psychopharma and the system, and on one side, and the activists, the survivor network, the advocates, the different form of activists and survivors and experiencers, and they would have a war about how to treat mental illness, basically. And I am one voice to end that war. I am one voice to unite both with the psychopharma and the doctors and the system and the money and the power, with the activists, the family, the survivors, the diagnosed, the organizations and the lawyers, to unite and find peace between these polarities, these camps. Because I and um, I and millions with me, I and millions with me need our psychopharma every single day. I will repeat that. Me and millions together with me need, in a dire need, of our psychopharma every single day. Now, understand that the psychopharma is a strong drug. It's way stronger than, for instance, nature medicine, for instance, for homeopathy. The psychopharma is, yes, a chemical, and it's a strong and it's a really what shall I say, it creates some ripples in the body. And I take a psychopharma, I take an antipsychotica, I take antipsychotic medicine for me to have a better grasp on reality. I take antipsychotica to have a better grasp on reality. Um, to stay out of psychosis, basically. I take antipsychotica to stay out of psychosis, obviously, because psychosis is scary and no fun, and psychosis, you don't want to go there, okay? Psychosis is really, really bad to experience and can have hideous consequences. You see this in the news, how people turn, they flip over and they just do insane criminal things. So for me to stay out of psychosis, I need, together with millions of people, we need our psychopharma. That does not mean that I cannot add to my diet uh, herbs or homeopathy or self-therapy, kinesiology, yoga, massaging my feet, doing all sorts of things to help and help and support my physical and my being, you know. So I choose to take a psychopharma, an antipsychotic drug, and even though I might have 5 or 10 or even 15 years shorter life expectancy in my living, if I may have 5 or 10 or 20 even shorter life expectancy because of my drug, then I would still say it's worth it, because I don't want to go in psychosis. I don't want to go into psychosis, thank you very much, because I know that would be like hideous and insane, and you know you don't want to go there because it's just so scary and abusive and insane. It's not supportive whatsoever. So what I'm trying to say here is that we need both the psychopharma, and we need also, very importantly, we also need nature therapy, herbs, homeopathy, kinesiology, massage, yoga, exercise, playing piano, dancing. We need all of it, the whole full spectrum. If anything works as a effect, it has a healing effect on mental illness, we need it. If anything has a healing effect on mental suffering and illness, we need that therapy. And to sit and be stubborn and egocentric and in one's camps of I want to only herbs or only Chinese medicine or only yoga or only the psychopharma or only the we have to use some common sense and find out how we can unite as one. And I really mean that. We must find cooperation between these two camps of schools of thought or practice or therapy. It is about high time that we can unite and find solutions to, because when I take my antipsychotic medication, I use, for instance, liver cleansing with dandelion tea to clean out the extra drugs. I use nature therapy to clean out the extra drugs from my body. And I use yoga and running and swimming to stay fit and to stay grounded in my physical. I use yoga and I use swimming and I use running and stretching to stay grounded in my body. and not lost in a fling possession psychosis in the head, but staying grounded in my physical. So, in other words, we need both these therapies with us. We need to unite as one and become and find sanity and find cooperation with this. Where we need both the chemical substance, psychopharma, and we also need nature therapy, herbs, homeopathy, kinesiology, self-communication, writing, yoga. We need all of it. The one does not need to exclude the other, obviously. The one does not need to exclude the other. Yeah, so that is some of my thoughts on this day about schizophrenia and medication and some of that. I hope you could enjoy. So, thank you and see you around.